Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is Sunlight Radio Online. My name is Akwesi Opong, and we are talking today about emotional intelligence in relationship. And as I said before our break, we do have an open line. It's a text-only line. It's 240-772-1420. If you have a question, you want to contribute, you are welcome to do so, and we will be happy to respond to that when you send us a message through that line. I am checking to make sure we don't have any messages here, but in the meantime, you can also go back to review any of these resources we have available on our website, and it's www.enjoylifewithyourspouse.com. So as we move right along, we've been talking about emotional intelligence and how that applies to our relationship. And before we broke off, we were talking about, doing things that will lift our happiness set point and help us, put us in a place where we are actually increasing the levels of satisfaction and happiness in our relationship, and we're not dwelling on things that will rather point us to the places where we are not giving our best to our relationship. So as we move on, I want to go back and talk about the last resource that I mentioned. I want to make sure that as many of you can have access to it. This is called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. It's available online. It's actually a free resource on YouTube. If you type that on YouTube, you'll find access to it, and you'll be able to listen to it. It's a very long resource, so give yourself time. It'll probably take a couple of days for you to be able to listen to all of it. So that's one resource that I would strongly recommend. Yes. So as we move on, we are going to look at other things too. If negative feelings flare up again, and I've said time and over that it will happen. 20% of the time, scientists tell us that couples have conflict, and it's okay. It's because we are individuals, we're different people, so there'll be conflict. But it's what we do with it. It's what matters. So take another break from the issue. When there's conflict, take a break. It helps you to organize your thoughts. It helps you to connect with yourself. There's a TED Talk my wife and I listened to yesterday about emotional intelligence, and I'd like to share that with you. It talks about a lady who was married to a therapist, and as the story goes, they had a very bad argument, conflict, which was really, really bad, and the wife was very, very upset, and was so upset she was ready to walk out. And so when she approached the husband, very upset, and telling him how upset she is, and how she doesn't want to be in the house with him anymore, and the husband just paused and say, "Look at you, look at how upset you are. You are so upset you do not even remember that you love me." And think about that. It was like a bottle of cold water was just dumped on her. If someone said, and this clearly tells you that that husband was very emotionally intelligent, but being able to step back and look at the situation and say, you know what, I'm upset, but I love her too much to let this conflict go on. And that's where we all need to come to, by realizing that this is my spouse, this is the person that I have decided to spend forever with. So if I'm upset, it's about an issue. It's about different views or different opinions, and I will not let that cloud my life. I will not let that make her a villain or make him a bad person, because we tend to forget all the good things when we are upset. So let us do our best to really get out of ourselves, really take a step back and really look at things from a different perspective when moments of conflict comes in. We have to make a commitment to acknowledge, understand, and express our emotions without using criticisms, blame, or judgment. One of the things that I learned about this was your ability to understand the way you feel. Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I depressed? Am I anxious? What is really going on with me? Am I tired? There are a lot of people, when they're tired, they do not even know they're tired. So they keep pushing themselves, and they end up, causing conflicts and mistakes and things that really cost them a lot when it comes to their relationships. So our ability to really know how we feel, understand what is going on, is really a key part of this, and we have to train ourselves. We said earlier on that emotional intelligence can be learned. So we have to learn to train ourselves to make sure that we are really putting in the effort, we're putting in the time, and making those decisions and those investments that will help our relationships grow. So, negative emotions are not your enemy. It's how they are expressed that can become a problem. So when you have negative emotions, just channel them well. Just like I said about fire or even water. When it rains, we are not too happy about it when it rains, except maybe you're a farmer, you have a big lawn. But sometimes when it rains, we don't like it. We want the sun to be out. But the truth is, when it rains, the same rain we don't like, that's what makes our plants grow. That's what cleans up the air. After it rains, the air becomes very fresh because the moisture takes away all the particles and all the things in the air. And at the same time, rain also helps to fill up places where they power their cities with hydroelectric dams. We need rains to keep the water behind the dams high, so that they can generate electricity for us. So rain and water is a good thing, but I know when it rains, we don't want to walk in it, so we wish it wouldn't rain. So it's the same way. Negative emotions are not the enemy. It's the way we respond to it. Sometimes it's just like that check engine light in your car. When negative emotions come, sometimes it's a way of you saying that, when that light comes on in your car, it does not always mean the light is not the problem, but it's what is causing the light to come on. Maybe it's a spark plug that is faulty. Maybe it's your engine pressure, or maybe it's your coolant is low. I know now we have a lot of very sophisticated cars that every little thing can generate that light to come on, but that light itself is not the issue. It's what is happening behind the light. So there's a commercial on TV where this lady got in her car, she turned on the engine, the check engine light came on, and she put a sticker on top of it to cover it. That does not turn the light off, and that does not prevent the problem in the engine. So it's important that we follow the trail to find out what exactly is causing that light to show on your dashboard. And once you know that, and if you can do that, there are professionals, mechanics who can help you do that. They have this device where they can stick under your car where the pedals are, and it's going to diagnose and tell you exactly what is going on. And it's very easy. But when it comes to us as human beings, we don't have a tool like that. So we have to sit down and do the self-diagnosis ourselves. We have to sit down and ask ourselves deep questions and say, what is going on with me? What is on my mind? Why am I feeling this way? Am I tired? Am I anxious? Sometimes you can play it back and say, what happened today? What happened yesterday? When was the last time I felt good about myself? And very quickly, you'll be able to identify what is driving that emotion. And that will help you begin the process of unraveling it. Sometimes you just have to give yourself a self-talk. Sometimes you have to talk to somebody about it and say, this is on my mind. What do you think I can do? And that will really help you to set yourself free. That will help you to put yourself on the path to really building yourself out of that emotional fog. We have to make sure we make a commitment to acknowledge, understand, and express our emotions without using, I think we said that earlier, criticisms, blames, or judgment. So when negative emotions come up, take a break, calm down, and then turn again towards your partner to talk about it. Taking some time off is good. It helps you to organize your thoughts. It helps you to recalibrate what is going on, and it really helps you to really know the next steps that you need to take to really get your relationship back on track and really get things moving again. So I hope this is really helping all of us to develop some ideas, and also helping us to understand what emotional intelligence is all about. As I've said time and over, it's our ability to really understand ourselves, understand the things that are causing us to feel the way we're feeling, and also not just that, but how does it help us to really start taking the steps to really get out of those feelings that tend to keep us down and prevent us from really enjoying a fuller life, and also enjoying our life with our spouses. So this is a great time for us to take a short break. And as I've said, if you really want to join us, if you really want to contribute, you are welcome to do so. We do have an email address too. If you're not comfortable sending text messages, you can send us an email at enjoylifewithyourspouse@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us. This is Sunlight Radio Online, and we will be right back. Hello, and thank you for joining us again. This is Sunlight Radio Online. My name is Akwesi Opon, and we are talking today about emotional intelligence, how we can have that emotional control as to the things that we do, and how we relate with people, our community, and how well we are aware of ourselves, and also the people who mean a lot to us. And we've talked about so many little detailed things as to how we can do this. And as we move right along, you're welcome to connect with us by sending us a text on our line, which is 240-772-1420. So we're going to keep on going as we have been doing. So the last thing we talked about was taking a break, calming yourself down, and reconnecting with your spouse. So if we learn to do that, it will most likely lead us to a greater connection and understanding between ourselves and our spouse, and increase our level of satisfaction and happiness in our relationship. No one of us got into our relationship to be miserable. Nobody got into their wedding day to say, I want to be sad the rest of my life. But the truth is that we, somewhere along the line, stopped doing certain things. We stopped working on ourselves. We stopped giving ourselves to resources and truths that will really help us to get there. So the goal of this is really to help us to get back on track, to really help us to build the vocabulary. We said that earlier. What are the words that you need to say, the right things you need to say that will really help you to be very emotionally intelligent. So moving right along, we are going to look at other things that can be done. So one other thing that we can look at is actively seeking change in your relationship. You know, we have to make sure that we don't let our relationships become a drab where, you know, things become so routine, we're not willing to try new things, be a little bit adventurous, or to explore new things or ideas that can help put our relationship on a different level. You know, I've said this on this show or this podcast time and over, something I call the miracle of a new place. And I always have a story to go with it, and I know if you've heard this a third or fourth time, forgive me for those who haven't to also listen. But that's how the story goes. So we took a trip to visit some friends years ago in another state, in Connecticut, and whilst we were there, we stayed with them, and the next morning our friend's wife prepared breakfast for us to enjoy, and our two daughters ate breakfast, and they were enjoying it. They were passing comments, and so I went up and told the host couple how grateful we are for the breakfast, and I said, you know, our girls really enjoyed your breakfast. What was so special about it? What do you do? And they said, well, it's just eggs and toast with some hot chocolate and I think tea. That was what we had. And we said, well, we have the same at home. That's the same thing we eat at home. And right there, it struck me that what was different wasn't the food, but is the environment under which our daughters were eating the food. That's what made it taste so good. You know, I've always said that during the warm season, some of the very simple things you can do is that same dinner you're going to eat by your kitchen table, pack it up, put it in a basket or ice chest or whatever you can find, that exact same dinner you cooked that you're going to eat. Drive a few miles to a park somewhere or somewhere in your city where you can find some grass, sit there with your spouse and eat that same dinner. And oh boy, come back and tell us how it felt. That dinner will taste 10 times better. You will connect more. There will be so much for you to talk and laugh about. So we have to actively seek to change things in our relationship, and that is one thing that will help us build our emotional intelligence as well, because we are proactive, we're seeking ways of getting better, we're seeking ways of improving ourselves, you know. So the next thing, we have to view the challenges we encounter as opportunities rather than problems. You know, we all encounter challenges. When there are challenges, it means that, you know, one person sees things a little bit different, or, you know, there are challenges that come to us outside the home, you know. As challenges come, let's see them as what else can we do to pivot. I know that's a new word now with COVID and things changing all around. How do you change when things are changing around you? Or which direction do you go when you realize that things are changing around you? Our ability to do that, to really look at problems and say, I see this as a problem, but I will not let problems overcome me or destroy me, you know. I had this discussion with my wife. We were talking about how, you know, people always say that, you know, money destroys couples. And I said, well, it's people who let money destroy couples, you know, or their relationships, you know. Money itself is good. The Bible says that it's the love of it that it's an issue, but money, it's not bad. We all wouldn't be working, you know. We need that. It helps us. It's our medium of exchange in the way that we make a living and support ourselves and our families. So we have to make sure that we are very proactive in doing things that will change problems into opportunities. So as we move along, we have to respect all the feelings you have for each other. So respecting the feelings you have for each other means that you are delighted by the discoveries we make about the person we love, but when it comes to emotions, it's necessary to accept them all. You know, being in love doesn't mean, you know, never feeling angry, disappointed, hurt, or jealous. How you act on your emotions is up to you. So, it comes down to that. I can't say that enough. What's important is that you actually feel them, your ability to feel them and say, oh, this is how I'm feeling. Many relationships have been ruined by blame. Millions of couples have missed out on deep intimacy because of shame. But both are cruel reminders of, anger, fear, and anxiety. And, we have to make sure that we respect the feelings of our spouses and make sure that when an emotion comes up, we have the ability to think it through and say, this is how I'm going to challenge this emotion. I'm not going to let this destroy us. I'm not going to let it steal our joy. But I'm going to stay on the best side of this emotion that is coming up. So keep the laughter in your love life. Laughter is indeed good medicine. Find ways of laughing and enjoying each other. I so much like the name of our ministry, Enjoy Life with Your Spouse. It's actually a scripture, from Ecclesiastes 11:9. We took that because it tells the whole story that, it says, the scripture actually says, enjoy life with your wife. This was actually a command to the men, and we've modified it a little bit for the name of the ministry so we call it Enjoy Life with Your Spouse. So we're calling on women to also enjoy life with their spouse. And, being able to share laughter, joy, and fun is a key part. I always say that, when you look through the Bible, it talks about how the Bible says rejoice. Again, I say rejoice. It talks about things that we do to celebrate and enjoy, and God takes pleasure in the prosperity of his children, and prosperity along with it comes excitement and joy. Look at the Israelites. Anytime they won a battle, they jumped and they rejoiced and they had fun. And it's sad that in our society today, I don't know, but we always have this gloom and doom on our faces, and we fail to laugh and enjoy and rejoice and be excited about all the things that are going well. It's so easy for us to talk about the things that are not going well, but if you look around you, there is so much for us to laugh, enjoy, and make merry, and really help us to enjoy the things that we have. So let us make a point to laugh. It's a sign of emotionally intelligent couples because they are identifying good emotions and they are acting on it. Your high emotional intelligence in contrast means that you can keep improving your relationship, but you will never get trapped by intolerance and also expectations of perfection. So we have to invest in laughter, get some comedy, do things that will help really bring out the great emotions of laughter, joy, and celebration in your life. It's a very, very important one. Now the next thing, I know we're getting too close to the top of the hour, but pay attention to how you feel when your lover is not around. So that's another one. Fortunately, we have a flawless way of monitoring exactly how your relationship is going. We've talked about all the things, but we also have to pay attention to how we feel, when our spouse is not with us. Are you feeling restless or irritable? In general, do you drag through your day at the office or in school? After a night of marital bliss, do you resent family and friends even though the two of you are spending every available minute together? Love never benefits from tunnel vision. So I think what we're getting here is that the fact that you're not with your spouse shouldn't make you uncomfortable, irritable, and that is a sign that you need to work on your emotional intelligence. We are individuals before we come into relationships, and we have to still have the room to celebrate our individuality. So it's very important that we take steps to make sure that we identify how we feel when we are not with our spouse. So the last thing we're going to talk about is when you first fall in love with your spouse, how can you tell whether it's the person, or how can you tell how well you're doing in your current relationship? How do you know whether you're in love with the person you love, or how can you tell that you are emotionally intelligent? And it comes down to the decisions we make. I've said time and over that research shows that people in arranged marriages actually have very, very low divorce rate. And the explanation that scientists gave to it is because people in arranged marriages learn how to love each other. So no matter where you are in, the life cycle of your relationship, you can learn to become more emotionally intelligent. You can learn to love your spouse more. You can learn to invest more in your relationship and bring your marriage to the point where it becomes a beacon of hope, and it becomes something that you look forward to going to at the end of the day. You look forward to being with your spouse. You look forward to celebrating the good times, because you've learned to become emotionally intelligent by being aware of yourself, by being able to manage yourself, and becoming aware of your community, the people you are with. And then finally, you are aware of your relationships as well, and the things that you do to invest in them. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a wonderful time. We do have more resources online. You can always get in touch with us at enjoylifewithyourwife.com, and also join us on Sunlight Radio for some of our other shows. We are so glad that you made time to join us. Have a great evening, and we will see you again next week.